Hey GenderqueerChat people, it's Tuesday and this is Matt, and this week's topic is envy. Do you envy people who have transitioned or cisgendered people for not having to deal with this gender headache? Really interesting topic. I'm really excited to hear what everyone else has to say on this issue. I guess for me, in regards to being envious of people who have transitioned, honest answer would be sometimes. Transitioning is one thing that I guess a lot of genderqueer people, or people who don't necessarily identify strongly with their birth assigned gender, have to think about. It's kind of the option that's presented when you first start looking into transgender or gender variant sort of issues. You've got your gender binary, as we know, male and female. Not a lot of scope in the middle for anything else, as far as society says. So it's natural that somebody would think when they start to break down the rules of gender, if I'm not this one, then I must be this one. So yeah, I have thought about transitioning. It's something that I've looked into, done a little bit of research on, and thought, is that something that I would want to do? That ties in with the envy question, because while I guess I'm sometimes envious of people who have been able to transition, have chosen to do that, and hell, it's a pretty brave move and a pretty amazing thing for somebody to do. It's not something that you just click your fingers and able to achieve. So I'm envious of the strength and dedication of people who genuinely feel they need to do that and go ahead and do it. I think for me, I do get more envious of people who have a body type, so they're assigned the body that they were born in is more conducive to maybe blurring the lines, being a little bit more gender bendy, and that's something that I don't feel that I have inherently in myself. While I'm very genderqueer up here, I have a male body, and a particularly male body. I'm 6'1.5". Not to say that you don't get tall women, of course, but I'm 6'1.5", built like a brick shit house, as they say in Australia. I have big feet, big hands, body hair, the works. I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve or naturally present an androgynous or genderqueer kind of look. So I do get a little bit envious of people who are more capable of doing that, whether it be a male-bodied person who maybe exhibits some more feminine traits and would be able to more comfortably either transition or achieve an androgynous genderqueer presentation, or somebody who's born female physically, and the same goes there. So it's also interesting how I don't seem to differentiate between that. I don't necessarily look at male-bodied at birth people and sort of envious of their experience. I actually am more inclined to be more envious of people who are born female and maybe have a body that's more conducive to the transition. Or being more androgynous. I don't know where that comes from. That's probably a whole other video's worth of psychoanalyzing myself, but definitely I do experience a bit of envy for people who are more naturally, physically able to be gender bendy, and that comes down to just, I guess, I do struggle a bit with how I present, how I make my genderqueer identity more of a physical reality. In regards to cisgendered people, do I feel envious of people who don't have to think about gender? Truth be told, no. Maybe earlier on I would have. It's always attractive to think, wouldn't it be good if I didn't have to think about this? It can be difficult sometimes. There's a lot more that goes on in your head, and other people, cisgendered people, may not have to deal with those sort of issues. So it's an attractive option, but no. I think coming along with being more comfortable with my genderqueer identity, it's opened up my mind to a lot of things. I've changed my perspective on a lot of issues. I have a different worldview, I guess. I kind of liken it to, you have your, it's a weird analogy, okay, it's probably not going to sound great, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have your sticks in the ground, male and female, so they're dug firmly into the ground. And society knows these two sticks are there and that this is all there ever is. When you start to question gender, it's a bit like pulling both those stakes out of the ground. You choose to do that, and you throw them on the ground. And so I should have said that the two stakes were connected by a bit of string to make the analogy better. But yeah, you pull the stakes out of the ground, throw them on the ground, and all you've got is this jumbled mess of string. Suddenly the binary, the locked-in societal thing of male and femaleness doesn't really apply, and you've got to make what you want of that and what that means to you. So definitely has created more of a worldview. Around sexuality as well and other issues, I just think I look at the world a little bit different since I've been more active in thinking about gender. So no, I don't really feel envious of a cisgendered person for that reason. Yeah, that was kind of brief, but envy, it's an interesting thing, and really interested to hear what everyone else has to say about that. But yeah, I guess it depends, and things are going to change. I feel quite comfortable with who I am at the moment. I'm pretty happy with this body, even though obviously it labels me as something that I'm not particularly comfortable with. If I could click my fingers or walk into a magic machine and come out as something different, I probably would choose to have a female body. And I think that would be more, I'd feel more in line with that, it would be more comfortable. I can't say for sure whether or not if I had that I'd feel complete or less genderqueer, but it's certainly something that I would do. So yeah, I do get a little bit envious of people who are either more able to blur those lines, and I guess I'm a little bit envious of cisgendered women in the fact that they have that body, and I guess I would kind of like it, but yeah, that's it. Anyway, good to chat. I'll see you all next week, and yeah, have a good week. Bye.